I'm answering the question, how to make candied pecans, which you certainly can use in a number of different preparations for food. You certainly could just put them in a bowl on your coffee table and lay around and eat them also. They're that good. I'm going to show you the basic technique that I've learned on how to make these, and it's very simple, but it's very specific. And this can be messed up a little bit too if you're not careful by cooking them too long in the oil, mainly, or not storing them properly. One of the great things about candied pecans or walnuts, and I have walnuts and pecans here today, just to show you that when I say walnuts, I have whole pieces, halves and pieces rather, and pecans I have whole half pieces, okay? Now, both of these nuts come in smaller, less expensive, more broken versions, where sometimes they call them nuggets, or pecan pieces, or walnut nuggets, or walnut pieces, and you can use those in the recipes. But again, you're making a smaller thing, and in some cases is more appropriate for certain uses in terms of what dishes you put them with. We're going to use the whole pecans today to demonstrate how this is made. Now, the basic way in which we're going to make it before we even start to make it is the walnuts are simmered in some simple sweet sugar syrup. They're drained. Then they're deep fried until they're brown. And then they're drained a little bit, and then they're cooled in an air-conditioned room, not in a refrigerator, on paper, not napkins, so that they don't stick to the napkins. They won't stick to the paper, so you use baking paper to cool them on. Keeping in mind that nuts are never stored in the refrigerator because they have a tendency to absorb moisture and become not crisp. And you lose the crunchy texture, which makes most nuts what they are to us. So I'm going to begin by making the simple syrup. And the simple syrup is as simple as it gets. That's why it's called simple syrup. And that is, it's equal parts measured dry weight of sugar and water. This is one of those moments where you're using dry weight and liquid weight together, but they're exactly the same. So we're going to use 2 cups of sugar and 2 cups of water and bring it up to a simmer. Now, in the case of the pecans or the walnuts, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can make the syrup and then put the pecans or walnuts in it and soak them in it for a half an hour, or simmer them for 5 to 10 minutes in it and let them soak for a few minutes before you drain them. Or you can start the sugar and the water and put the pecans in all at the same time, which is what I'm going to do just to expedite the process for you, okay? So I have a pan here on the stove, and I'm going to dump the 2 cups of sugar and 2 cups of water together. Now that in itself is the simple syrup recipe, and you'll find in the course of this course and within some of the classes you'll see use 3 tablespoons of simple syrup for this or that or the other thing. This is the recipe for the simple syrup, and so we're going to provide you with that PDF recipe, of course, in this DVD. So I'm just going to put the pecans into the syrup. Now I don't need 2 cups, but I'm going to make it with 2 cups because 1 cup is a little bit small, and I want to use the syrup for something else later anyway after I'm done with this particular class. So I'm going to bring this to a simmer, and we're going to time-elapse that. It's probably going to be about 6-7 minutes. So I'll be back in 6 or 7 minutes as the pecans come to a simmer in the simple syrup, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, the candied pecans have been simmering for about 8 or 9 minutes in the simple syrup. What we have now is a little pecan-flavored simple syrup. And how would one define simple syrup? Again, let me clarify that for you. That is that equal parts sugar and water are brought to a boil and it's shut off. And there it is, simple syrup. That's why they call it simple syrup. So what we have here is very sweet pecans now, okay, that have been cooked in a syrup. And all we're going to do now is we're going to drain the syrup off of them. Okay? Now on the stove right here, you see how those look? Those are sweet. I tasted one a minute ago and they're just sweet as can be. And one of the things that makes candied pecans or candied walnuts, what they are is that they're crispy when you eat them, that texture, which is important. Don't forget about that recipe for recipes. The taste, the texture, presentation, portion size, and the temperature are all important. So here's your pecans. They're drained enough. Now I'm going to plunge them into the fat, carefully, of course. And I'm doing this to show you how to do this without a deep fryer. You don't need a deep fryer to fry things, okay? So here we go. We're going to put the pecans into the oil now. And now they're just frying. They look like everything else that's frying in the world, okay? Now I'm going to set up a pan right here because when those pecans are done, they're done. We don't have time to start looking for a pan, okay? So we're frying them now. And I would say the approximate cooking time on the pecan is about 30 seconds to a minute. Depends how hot the temperature of the oil is. 375, of course, is the general prescribed temperature for frying just about anything except for some kind of specialty item maybe. So 375 degrees is the general prescribed temperature for your fat. If you feel the need to take the temperature of the grease to ensure that you're at the right temperature, that's the temperature, okay? Now what I did was, before the camera came on, I tested the oil with one little piece of pecan to see how it boiled in it. And it looked good. Now it's stopped frying, and it's time for the oil to come out. When I mean it stopped frying, it no longer sounds like it's frying. Now what do I mean by that? The sound of frying is the sound of water being expelled from the food that's cooking in the fat. That's what the sizzling is all about when it's frying, okay? When it stops sizzling, there's no more water being expelled. It's been fully penetrated by the fat and has forced all the liquid out. And in 99% of the cases of anything being fried, that is the #1 indication that it's done. It's no longer dispelling any water, making a frying sound, okay? I would not use that as a guide for every single thing that you fry, but in this particular case, it applies 100%. They stop frying, they're done, okay? Now, I drained them a little bit, and now I'm going to put them on some paper. We'll use that fat for something else again later. I'm going to spread them out, and I'm going to set these pecans in an air-conditioned room for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. We're going to come back, time-elapse, and we're going to, of course, use these in this particular class today. This is one lesson that's linked to another lesson. We're going to use these as garnish on the carrot puree that's being demonstrated today. So I'll come back in a half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'll show you these candied pecans and show you how crunchy they are. And they get crunchy. Right now, they're soft. The key to learning and understanding to making candied pecans and walnuts is knowing, first having made them before, the experience of making them gives you the knowledge of knowing that are they going to be crispy? Yes, they're going to be crispy. They're soft now, and you say, oh, these are soft, and they're not what I want, but you can anticipate the crispiness to them. Now, if you cook these too much and you leave them in the fryer too long after they're fried, what you're going to end up with is a pecan or a walnut that's too crispy. And if there is such a thing, this would be the case. So, again, make sure you take them out before they over-fry. All right? Now I'm going to come back, time-elapse, in a half an hour to an hour, and show you what these look like, and I'll be tossing them around. Right now, they're sticky, okay? And they're going to be dry, and you'll be able to pick them up and toss them around in a bowl, and they won't stick together. Great on salads, on the carrot puree, mixed with different kinds of chicken dishes and stuff for garnish. This is a really neat item. So we'll be back in a little while.